Hi everyone, and welcome to Lipstick on a Rig. Today we're going to be making a wine tote for those 1.5 liter bottles. But this is also great for any other bottle that you might need a tote for. And for our wine tote, we're going to be using size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn, and this is just the Big Twist Value brand, and the color is watermelon. And I'm also going to be using a size G or 6 or 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. And we're going to begin with a magic circle. We're going to chain 2. And then we're going to place 12 double crochets inside of our magic circle. And if you're unfamiliar with any of the stitches used in this pattern, then please check the links in the description because I will have my stitch tutorials listed down there for you. And once you have your 12 double crochets inside your magic circle, then you're just going to pull on your tail to close the gap there. And then you're going to slip stitch into the top of your first double crochet stitch, skipping your chain 2. And I'm going to work over my tail, but you certainly don't have to. It's just an option that you have. From here, we're going to chain 2 again, and then we're going to place 2 double crochets in that same stitch where we just worked. And then we're going to place 2 double crochets in each stitch in our row until we have 24 double crochets in total. And at the end of your row, you're going to skip your slip stitch as well as your chain 2, and then you're going to slip stitch into the top of your first double crochet stitch. From here, we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to place 1 double crochet back in that same stitch where we just placed our slip stitch. And then we're going to place 2 double crochets in our next stitch. We're just going to alternate between placing 1 and 2 double crochets in our row. And when we get to the end of our row, we should have a total of 36 double crochet stitches. And again, at the end of the row, we're going to skip our slip stitch and our chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet stitch. So to begin our bead stitch, we're going to chain 2, and then working in the stitch behind our chain 2, and make sure you're not working in your slip stitch, but in the actual stitch behind it. You're going to want to keep your stitches pretty loose. You're going to yarn over and insert your crochet hook in that stitch behind your crochet hook. Yarn over and pull up through, and again you're going to want to keep this loose, so make sure you're pulling it up all the way until your crochet hook is parallel with your project again. Yarn over and insert your crochet hook back in that same stitch, and yarn over and pull up through again. Yarn over and insert again, yarn over and pull back up, and we're going to do that one more time. So you're going to yarn over, insert your crochet hook, yarn over and pull back up. And so from here, we're just going to yarn over and drop all the loops on our crochet hook, which it's probably going to be pretty tight, but it'll get a little easier. Next, we're going to chain 1. And that's our first bead stitch of this row. And so to work a bead stitch in your regular stitches, you're going to locate the stitch that you've already worked in right here, skip your next stitch, and place a double crochet in that next stitch. From here, we're going to work in the stitch directly behind our double crochet, so your skipped stitch, and you're going to yarn over and insert your crochet hook in that stitch, yarn over and pull up. Then you're going to repeat that 3 more times. And then next, you're just going to yarn over and drop all the loops on your crochet hook. And then you're going to chain 1. And from here, you're just going to repeat that, going all the way around your row. And at the end of your row, you're just going to slip stitch into the top of your first bead stitch here. And from here, we're going to place a double crochet in our next bead stitch gap. So we won't be working in the top portion of our stitches, but instead we're going to be working in this gap in between each of our beads. And once you have your double crochet in place, then working backwards, we're going to place our bead stitch right here in this gap between our last and first bead stitch. And don't forget to chain 1 at the end, and then you're going to skip this gap that we've already worked and place your double crochet in the next gap right here. Then you're going to work your bead stitch back in this skipped gap right here. And you're just going to repeat that going all the way around your row. And at the end of the row, you're just going to slip stitch into the top of your first bead stitch. And then from here, we're just going to repeat that last row over and over to build the body of our wine tote. And I went ahead and crocheted 22 rows of placing my bead stitch just like this. And from here, you can either cut and tie off your yarn and use this as a wine gift bag, or you can add handles, which I'm going to show you how to do right now. We're going to begin our next row by chaining 1, and then in that same stitch where we just placed our slip stitch, we're going to place a single crochet. And then we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch in our row going all the way around. So when you get to the end of your row, you should have a total of 54 single crochet stitches. At the end of your row, make sure you skip that slip stitch and that chain stitch, and then we are going to slip stitch into the top of our first single crochet stitch. And from here, we are going to chain 12. And once you have your 12 chains in place, then we're going to skip 12 stitches. And in your 13th stitch, you're going to place a single crochet. And then you're going to place 1 single crochet in your next 14 stitches so that you have a total of 15 single crochets. And once you have your 15 single crochets in place, then you're going to chain 12 again. And once you have your chain 12, then you're going to skip 12 stitches again. And in your 13th stitch, you're going to place a single crochet. Then you're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the stitches between your handles, and you should have a total of 15 single crochets when you're done. And that 15th single crochet is going to go in that same stitch where you placed your chain stitches before, so right here. And then from here, we are going to place 12 single crochets around the chain stitches that form our handle. So to do that, go ahead and insert your crochet hook in this gap. Then you're just going to yarn over and pull up through. Then yarn over and drop your 2 loops. And you're just going to repeat that until you have 12 single crochets around your chain stitches here. And once you have your 12 single crochets in place, then you're just going to place 1 single crochet in each of the 15 stitches between your handles. And once you're back to your other handle, you're just going to repeat that process of placing your 12 single crochets around your chain stitches that form the handle. And then again, you're just going to place 1 single crochet in each of the 15 stitches between your handles. And once you get back to your first handle, then all you're going to do is just place 1 single crochet in each stitch in your row. And you want your stitches to sort of flow naturally between your handles and the stitches between your handles. So go ahead and place 1 single crochet in each stitch in each row to build the body of your handles. And I went ahead and followed this pattern until I had 5 rows of single crochets on top of my handles. And I stopped my last row roughly 7 stitches before my first handle, and I am going to place 1 slip stitch in each of these stitches between my handle and where my crochet hook currently is. And once you make it back to your handle, then you're just going to cut and tie off your yarn. And I am going to weave my tail down the side of my wine tote and then turn it inside out. And then after you've inserted your bottle of wine or other bottle, it should look something like this. Please let me know in the comments below if you experienced any issues while you were making this, and I will do my best to help you out. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Lipstick on a Rig. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.